Hello and welcome to episode number 77 of Week in Review. My name is Sean, and on this week's show, we're going to talk about Sea of Solitude and give you some early impressions of Super Mario Maker 2, and we'll look forward to this week's new releases. We'll start with the early impressions of Super Mario Maker 2. I never played Super Mario Maker because I never owned a Wii U, and I actually wasn't all that excited about Super Mario Maker 2 for whatever reason until like a week before, where I was like, shit, like I kind of want to play this game. Like I watched the direct of it and I was like, that sounds cool. Like I'm interested in it, but I don't know where I personally really fit into this whole mess of things because I don't feel like I'm creative enough to come up with my own level designs. I don't necessarily feel skilled enough to play a bunch of people's original creations in a way that feels like they would be effective and fun. And the addition of a single player mode still felt limiting in my own experience because, again, lack of experience. Like, how much am I going to be able to get out of this game just from a purely personal perspective? My hype only intensified for this game when I watched a bunch of streams of it. And I have been watching so many streams of this game, and I love it. I bought it on Friday, and I was very much like, ooh, I hope this works the way I want it to. And I can't believe how much fun I'm having with it, even doing the user-created stuff. This is the most fun I've had playing 2D Mario in a very long time. I never really got into New Super Mario Bros. I was kind of like, whatever. And none of it really struck me. I have always tended to gravitate towards the 3D Marios, specifically 64 and Sunshine. And the recently released Mario Odyssey is a masterful game that I love very, very much. So for me to come on this show and talk about how much fun I'm having playing 2D Mario is a pretty big surprise to me. The single player story setup is super simple. Basically, the Toads have finally reconstructed Princess Peach's castle from whatever disastrous event led to its destruction, and for some reason they left this like reset rocket button on the ground, and then this goofy dog comes over who's really cute and like jumps on it and then blows the whole thing up. It's super simple, really charming and funny and goofy in a way that's super engaging. I like the story of the game. It's a very simple and easy setup to basically just say like, hey, we need you to run through levels to recreate the castle so that we can get it for Princess Peach where it needs to be. And that's what feels so good about the single player aspect of it, is the sense of progression. So basically you run through levels, they pay out a certain number of coins. It's between 1 and like 200 coins so far from what I've played. And with those coins, you talk to you talk to the chief of construction, and you buy upgrades for the castle. And the castle upgrades, they start at like the west wing and the east wing are each 400, and then the main middle part is 600. So when you pay the required number of coins, it takes a certain number of levels for you to play before that's done. And so what happens is you get kind of out of sync. So I spent $600 on the main portion of it, played 4 levels, which gave me enough coins to unlock the West Wing. But while I was earning those coins, I was chipping away at the stuff that needed to be done on the main hall. And so when that was complete, the other one started, and then it didn't take very much to get the East Wing started. And it's a very nice loop so far of like, I can see the end. All I have to do is run through 2 more levels. How hard can that be? And so far all the levels have been a lot of fun. They've been super creative and silly and fun, and I really enjoy them. There was only one that gave me a little bit of trouble, but they all make sense, and like, okay, I'm just not looking at this correctly. I need to be more patient, or I need to nail this jump, or I need to adjust my own view of it to figure out how to complete the challenges at hand. Some of the levels in the single player, and you can use these in the user created section as well, have certain goals that need to be met. So like collect 50 coins or finish the level as Super Mario instead of regular Mario. So you need to get a mushroom to like make him big. Or in the case of the level that I was having trouble with, don't touch the ground after leaving platform. So basically you have to not jump or fall, otherwise the requirement would fail and you wouldn't be able to cross the goal, because as soon as you leave the ground and land, it takes away the goalposts and it goes, well, you have to start over. And that one gave me a little bit of trouble because I just wasn't seeing it right. Like I was being a little bit too quick with what I was trying to get done. So I would run and then fall, and I'm like, well, I don't understand, like, what am I doing? And it's all set up for you to be able to just do it. And I just needed to be a little bit more patient and slow myself down a little bit and not worry so much about jumping as much as it is like just stand on the ground, take your time with it. You have all the time in the world. You'll complete the level and you'll unlock more stuff in the castle. As of the time of this recording, I've completed 25 levels, and not many of them have given me much trouble, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. I've also been very lucky in the courses I've played that are user created, and I've played a lot of good courses that are interesting, and I actually feel like I'm improving my skill level at Mario. I'm not terribly good at the 2D stuff. It's just not. I remember we had Super Mario All-Stars as a kid. We had that contains Super Mario Bros., The Lost Levels, Mario 2, Mario 3, and then we had Mario World as well. And I remember dabbling in those games. The Mario game I have the most experience in would probably be either Yoshi's Island or Super Mario 64, one of those two. I've really enjoyed playing the levels from Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario World, which has my favorite art style of the 5. The additional 3 are Super Mario Bros. 3, and New Super Mario Bros. U. There's just something about the art style of Super Mario World that I really, really enjoy, and I love the cat power-up from Mario 3D World. It's really interesting and fun, and I like it a lot because he goes like meow, and it's a lot of fun. It's just like, it's a silly weird power-up that doesn't make any sense, and I never played Super Mario 3D World. This has been a tremendously fun game to play, and these are like very, very early impressions. I've played between 5 and 10 user created levels, and I've only completed maybe 1 or 2 of them because I just, again, not that skilled in Mario, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and I think that speaks volumes to what this game does. The single player is interesting. I like the goofy story setup. I'm really excited to dive back in and try a bunch more user-created levels, but I kind of want to go back and play the single player stuff. Like, there's a lot to do, and you can play this game in co-op, and you can make your own levels, and it's such a wonderful package of a bunch of different stuff going on all at once, and I think it's absolutely worth your time. Like, it's a fantastic game, and I'm so happy to report that I'm having such a good time with it. Like, I just want to go play it right now. Our second game this week is Sea of Solitude, which is an EA original game that I talked about last week on the quarter in preview section for the third quarter. So we're starting out 1 for 1, which is very, very good. And I really enjoyed this game. The first thing that's noticeable about Sea of Solitude is its art style. I think it's very simplistic and very beautiful. I like the way the characters are designed, and I like the way the monsters are designed. I like the way all of that stuff really plays into the narrative. There were a couple things that struck me from the narrative structure of this game. One, it's how dark it gets. Like, this game is unrelenting in certain ways where it's like, this is going to get better at some point, right? Like, we're going to kind of curve off of this dark theme or dark narrative or dark story, and we're going to go somewhere light, and it just kind of keeps getting worse in a way that I thought was really engaging, and it almost felt like I needed to take a break at some point. In the early process of playing this game, I was a little bit worried because some of the narrative beats, while they felt like kind of realistic, they did feel a little obvious or heavy-handed in a way that was like, well, here's your problem. Like, this is going to be the solution. And what I like so much about that is the way it kind of plays with that as it works its way into the later stages of the story. And while it seems obvious because I'm sitting on the opposite side of a screen and someone is telling me their narrative, they're telling me their story or their experience, I like the way it kind of plays with that, and it shows you like, yeah, it looks obvious to you, but there are 50 different things going on in other people's lives. And there's a point where the main character, Kay, seems like she's learned her lesson, but it doesn't really seem to apply in a way of like, yeah, like that's the obvious answer, but why aren't you applying it to a different situation later on in the game? And I think that's a super interesting twist and show of, yeah, things look super obvious from the outside. It's a lot more complicated internally, and when you have 4 or 5 different things going on and you all have emotional attachments and reactions to certain things, like that makes everything infinitely more complicated. And just because you can recognize a problem in someone else's life or with a relationship that they have or something like that doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to look inward and see if you can figure that out if there's a problem in a similar situation with you. And using that kind of like obviousness to the narrative's advantage of being like, yeah, we know that it looks easy, but we're going to show you why it's not necessarily easy, helps that narrative ring even truer. Sea of Solitude is a very short experience. It's about 3 hours long. It's primarily narrative focused. There is exploration and light platforming elements to it, but there isn't really any combat, and the platforming stuff isn't terribly complex. It wants to tell you its story, and I think it does so successfully. This is not a game for everyone because it is a narrative-based game. If you want a game that has lots of gameplay and lots of exploration, this probably isn't going to be the game for you. And with some of the themes and some of the stories that it deals with, this may not be everyone, even from a narrative or thematic perspective. So while this isn't a game for everyone, I definitely enjoyed my time with it. I thought the narrative was very interesting, engaging. It felt realistic. It was heartbreaking and engaging. I like the art style. I like the way the characters are designed, both the human characters and the monsters. I like what they represent. I like the way the story is structured. I think it's super interesting. I like that it's a super short experience. It gets to the point that it wants to tell, and it just kind of goes with that. And in kind of a surprise, I think the unrelenting darkness of the story actually really works in its favor. I really like Sea of Solitude for what it was. Finally on the show, we'll look at this week's new releases on Blu-ray, High Life and Little. High Life is a movie that I liked bits and pieces of. I think it has amazing cinematography, great sound design. I think Robert Pattinson's performance is super interesting. It makes me very excited for him to be Batman. And then Little was a very fun movie that I think I saw like 98% of, and I never went back and finished it, and so maybe here is my opportunity to do that and to finish this movie that I really enjoyed and had a good time with. In theaters this week is Stuber, one of the 5 movies I listed on the Q3 in preview. And then there were 2 other movies, The Farewell and The Art of Self-Defense, that were listed for July 12th releases, but I kind of doubt that we're going to get them here where I live. I would guess that we might get those in the next couple of weeks, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we get at least one of them in one game this week in Dragon Quest Builders 2, which releases for the Switch and the PlayStation 4. The streams this week are as follows. I'm going to take the Wednesday stream and move it to Tuesday, and I'm going to continue Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. I started it on Sunday, and I'm hoping to get through as much of it as possible. I'm hoping to finish it, though I don't know how realistic that goal is. I'd like to finish it on Tuesday so that we can do something new on Friday. So Friday's stream is going to be either finishing Wolfenstein 2 and probably more Mario Maker, or it'll be like just Mario Maker, or it will be the start of Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, and then Wolfenstein 2 will carry through Saturday and Sunday until that game is complete. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you like the content, scroll on down and hit that subscribe button. If you like it enough, you can scroll on down even more and you can leave me a comment. And this week you can do a couple of different things. 1, you can tell me what you thought of Sea of Solitude. And 2, you can leave me your Mario Maker levels so I can play them. I would love to play them on a stream sometime. I have a little notepad on my computer that I'm adding so that I can play a bunch of Mario Maker levels because I'm having a lot of fun doing that. So leave me your levels if you're watching this. Do it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Be sure to check out the streams on twitch.tv/Shaunosaurus on Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And be sure to check back every Tuesday for more Week in Review. I'll see you next week.